Aussie Mac Zone Show 49 and a WWDC special. And maybe you were up early this morning for the keynote. I know our next presenter is Michael. How are you?
Good, mate. Bit weary.
Bit weary, but worth it.
Oh, absolutely, definitely worth it. Yes, yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, there was quite a lot announced, and look, from my perspective, I guess it was a little different to what I was expecting. There was certainly a lot of content, but no hardware, which was probably a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, but it was all, like, realistically, it was all for developers this time. It's the first time it's been like that for a while.
Funny about that being WWDC as well, I guess, isn't it? You'd expect it to be so. So I guess let's get straight into the goodies. And there was quite a few to go through. So I don't know, where do you want to kick off? Should we kick off with Yosemite, which is now going to be 10.10?
10.10, yeah. They had a nice little gag about driving all over California to try and find out the name for Yosemite. They stopped at a place called Weeds, and they thought they were smoking, and a few funnies like that were coming out. But they eventually went back to Yosemite and got there. So,
well, I guess unlike Mavericks, it's probably one that the rest of the world's probably heard of.
Yeah, yes, very true. When you put it that way.
Wasn't it Yogi Bear from Yosemite?
Yeah. But it was a very entertaining keynote too. They kept it pretty lively, and Greg Federini was pretty busy the whole time.
Oh, he was probably the star of the show, wasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. He even went out and put crap on himself with his hairdo.
I think he loves that.
Yeah.
So a few interesting things that found from there, and I guess to kick off, it's certainly around the user interface. Certainly takes its cues from iOS 7. It's been flattened and got the transparency, and I guess it's got the Sir Johnny makeover.
Yes, yeah, it's looking pretty good. Be nice to see it when it's really there, just to make sure it's all readable. You know,
none of those thin white fonts that don't really show up.
Yeah. And things like was sort of maybe, you know, even the iPhone realistically is a Retina display these days. So what it's going to look like on my non-Retina MacBook Air, for example, they've got to take into that into account. So.
But yeah, I guess apart from the user interface, a few interesting things, and one of those being iCloud Drive available for the Finder, and probably a bit of a Dropbox rip-off maybe. And well, I don't know why and I believe this goes back to Steve's days. They actually were trying to buy Dropbox allegedly. Yeah. I still don't know why they haven't. I mean, they're paying $3 billion for some headphones. You think they could afford to buy Dropbox, which works so well? Because look, to be honest, that's probably been Apple's Achilles heel cloud services. None of them have worked terribly well.
Yeah, yes, it's been a challenge for them. But they've spent a lot of money in the last 2 years on data centers, haven't they?
They have, so I guess there's somewhere to store it. But look, it sounds promising around, a la Dropbox synchronization across Mac, iOS, and even Windows was supported.
Yeah, and they've even made it like a good price, like free for developers to make sure to try and entice the developers into using it properly.
Yeah, I think I did see, this is probably US, was it $3.99 a month for 200 gig? And it expands out to a terabyte. So
yeah, you can at least get up to 1 terabyte. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And I guess maybe in line with that was handling of large attachments in email up to
6 gig,
5 or 6 gig. Yeah. But now I wanted to send you a large attachment, for example, that may not go through email so well. It turns itself into a link, and you can download it.
Yeah, it just sort of showed, from what I remember, it didn't actually show up as a link, just showed up as an attachment, even though it was a link. And because it goes up to Apple's and back down again. So when it's in your Apple Mail, it doesn't think of it as a link like you would if you were using some of the other
Dropbox, for example.
yeah. But there's a few specialists like email attachment companies for doing big emails, because a lot of people don't realize how small your limits are on actually sending attachments in email. When you're a designer, it makes a big difference. Like sending artwork around the place, it's pretty challenging.
Yeah, and I think that's typically graphics, video, audio, obviously quite large files, so that would be a handy way to send things around. So
like it's either like 7 meg. Most places are 7 meg, some are 20 as a limit of what the attachment size is. That's meg, not gig.
Yeah, I think that tends to be fairly
it's not very big at all.
Absolutely, yeah. So that should be interesting. The other one that interested me, and this would be really, can Apple get it to work, was the handoff and proximity awareness to swap tasks between phone and your desktop. So, I think the examples were around, I browse a website on my desktop and move over onto my phone, and okay, we've all seen, syncing of tabs and websites, but also continued on to things like email, that I could start an email on my desktop, move over to my iPhone, and I could continue it on. So if Apple pull that off, that will be that will be really neat.
Yeah, I think, don't you have to you actually have to click something on your iPad or your Mac, depending on which way you're going, backward and forward, to actually get the handover, so that it knows, I want to start that app and start using it just before you walk out the door. You've actually, and it's only a tap. It's not too much. It's just one icon on the bottom, I think, that you just got to tap it and away you go.
Yeah, so that would definitely be helpful as you start something and need to walk out the door and take your current tabs from your browsing, email, etc. with it. Did they talk about anything else that was going to support that?
It's up to the developer to just build it in, and it's part of, they've got 2,000 new APIs just for iOS, so there'll be maybe that same amount for Mac, or not quite as many. So it's a lot of integration to be going backward and forward there.
Yeah, I guess some interesting possibilities. What else do we have for iOS 10? I think there was some stuff around Spotlight and it being able to gather more information around web and iTunes Store, I guess, just from a broader base of searching.
Yeah, so it gives you. It's interesting they weren't pushing Google very much. So even on Apple's website, it says it now finds information from Wikipedia, Bing, Maps, and other sources. So I don't know whether Bing, because you can still choose Bing as your preferred search engine anyway. So maybe it's looking everywhere and just
maybe it's Apple's preferred search engine.
But it was interesting that, like, it was just there front and center when you just do your command space bar, instead of just coming up the top right hand side, it was right in front of you, and then it just gives you a scrollable menu of lots of choices of things.
Yeah, it looked quite nice. So that would be one to look forward to. And I think.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's actually available to developers today, wasn't it, Yosemite? And it will be a free update again for everyone in the fall. So obviously that's going to be come spring Australian time.
Yeah, and you can sign up to be a tester. I think they're allowing 1 million people to be testers, so you can sign up for that. But I wouldn't necessarily put it on my only machine. But yeah, if I had my second machine lying around, I don't think go from there.
Quite have it on production yet, so that's certainly one to look out for.
And there's a few more things in like the notification center gives you a lot more information as well now with these widgets that they're allowed to make. They're allowing developers to make widgets specifically for Mac and iOS now. So
Yeah, and I think it was going to handle SMS texts better, wasn't it? Even from Android phones, apparently.
Yeah, they picked on the Android a couple of times there. But yeah, it's just getting it all right and getting it on every machine, and um, you can get them from your Mac. You can get SMSs right on your Mac now instead of only on your phone. We can do the iMessage onto both the Mac and the phone, but now you can get your SMSs on your Mac. So
yeah, I thought that looked really good. So yeah, look, Yosemite, as we said, well, if you get with the first million, you can download it now, but yeah, probably wouldn't recommend that for your daily drive. But for everyone else, coming up in the summer, and we'll be right back to speak about all the fun of iOS 8.
We will.
Okay, welcome back. And look, just a reminder as well that on Thursday nights to join the guys for Aussie Tech Heads. And look, I'm sure they will have to be doing a little bit of speaking about Mac, especially with Eric on. So they'll cover off Mac, but obviously they cover off everything tech on Thursday nights. But on Tuesday nights, of course, Aussie Mac Zone, that's where it's really at with all your Apple news. And iOS 8, Michael, what exciting things did we have around that?
Again, it was all systems go. You got the messaging is improved on there. You got your favorites coming up under what's the sorry, total blank. But yeah, so you can see your favorite contacts just by swiping down. You can trash things or flag them directly in your email just by swiping. You got a choice now. Instead of just trashing, you can flag them as well. You get FaceTime. You can put one on, pause one call and take another call. Just never ending today.
There was a lot on there. Now, I guess before we get into a couple of the new features that were there, one thing that I don't know if this caught your attention as well, but on the keynote where they were demoing the iPhone screen, the iPhone screen came up like square without like a bezel around it like they normally
Yeah.
do. Did that?
Do
do you think we can read anything into that? I mean, that caught my attention, and one of the guys at work, he and I were speaking about it today, and we both noticed the same thing. So, anything you think we can read into that?
No, because it did still, the buttons that are on the left hand side were still in the right place and the right shape. They just cut it off so you were only looking at the screen, basically. So.
Oh, we like these conspiracy theories.
That's right, but I did pick up my phone and look at it and go, yeah, well, that'd be in the right place.
Just interesting, and obviously you noticed it too. So maybe it was just a different. Someone had done a different keynote template, and it was nothing more than that.
Same as everyone was looking at the presenter's sleeves to see whether they had any watches under their sleeves.
Any mysterious bulges.
They say, how come everyone had really long sleeves on today? No one had their sleeves rolled up.
Or if they did, there's this white line, tan line around their wrist that they had to take off their watch.
Yeah.
Well, a few interesting things, and I guess one of the rumours did come through around the health or health kit framework, I guess it is. And look, to me, it was a little bit light on. It didn't really lead on to too much, and maybe it was just planting the seed there for developers, both software and hardware, to feed into this health ecosystem.
Yeah, I think it gives the developers a base to start on, because they basically only showed off apps that integrate into this health platform, as opposed to saying, well, we've got we've got heart rate monitors, we've got blood pressure testers. I don't think Apple actually want to build any of that hardware. They want to get the third parties to do it, but make it easy and bring it all back to one place so that I can understand it, let alone, being able to send it your doctor your 2 heart rate monitors a day and things.
Yeah, and I guess to correlate data as well. So if you've got your Fitbit and all other various devices that do maybe differing things, you correlate it together into one app to, I guess, both bring it together and track it over time. So as you say, that as well as having it there to review yourself over time, you could provide it to your health professional,
Yeah, yeah,
whoever that may be, to look at some of that information. And I guess expanding from what we see today, which is really around heart rate and things like that, where we may see hardware manufacturers go into providing some, I guess, more detailed information around your health. And I guess as you touched on around diabetics for blood sugar levels and things like that has been the obvious example there.
I wonder if Samsung had any developers there for their new Samsung Galaxy Gear thing with the new blood pressure and heart rate.
They must have been all those people in the back row copiously taking notes. What can we take from here?
Yeah.
The other one that caught my eye was around family sharing, which seems quite interesting. I guess for those of us who do it a different way at the moment, where it's the same Apple ID on multiple devices. This actually seems a cleaner and maybe more legitimate way to do family sharing.
Well, it's interesting, even on their Apple's page at apple.com/iOS/iOS 8, they've got 6-year-olds and 10-year-olds on the demo for the family, because it's unusual to have a 6-year-old as allowed to be on the internet, shall we say? Like, Facebook rules are 13, aren't they? Most rules are 13.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and you're allowed to have different accounts for them now, but they've got to be on the same credit card. That
was the thing that tied it together, wasn't it? And I did see that if the 6-year-old did want to purchase an app or something from the iTunes store,
or an in-app purchase,
the adult or credit card holder would get a message and have to authorize that. So
and that stops it coming back on Apple, like they got into trouble for making it so easy for kids to buy stuff with that. What was it, 5-minute rule sort of thing?
Yeah, which I think did get them into. Well, there was a little bit of pressure. Well, that's probably a little while ago around that, and having to refund hundreds of dollars of people who were buying, or kids who were buying gems and such stuff from various games.
Yeah, donuts for the Simpsons game.
Absolutely. Another interesting one, and there was a lot, and I guess for me it was probably in iOS that there was lots of these new exciting ones. Was around the HomeKit again framework. So it was around offering a common protocol with secure pairing, so your phone can operate your devices. And they did list through some manufacturers who are on board now supporting that. But I guess in the world of home automation that we're seeing today, and Apple wanting to, I guess, control the home, this might be a way of doing so.
Yeah, but again, it just gives them all an easy place to build from. So it should be a lot easier for people to integrate their cookers or their dryers or their washing machines to say that it's ready, when they don't have to think about, I've got to make a washing machine with an LED display on it to tell people information, or dryers with LED. They can notify you that I've finished drying. You can come down and change the load.
Yeah, so I was wondering where this might go, and I guess from two aspects of to have these devices talk to each other, do things, that seems to lend itself to there being a central device in the home, coordinating, communicating around these.
Yeah.
Could that possibly be the new Apple TV, in it being something that presumably would stay at home, be on all the time, that it might have those services and act as that server or hub for the home, and also along with that of remote notification and control, I guess, from the same means that all well and good when you're home with your iPhone to do things and see things, but now you've travelled to work. What's there talking to your washing machine, letting you know back to your iPhone, and then by the same token, having your iPhone then be able to send messages back. So, what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, so but there has to be a way of getting it out there, doesn't it? So that's a good way of doing it. So,
And I thought maybe a less expensive way, as opposed to an expectation that people would have a Mac, and it wouldn't seem the most efficient way. That seems to be a little bit of old school now, running on a full desktop system.
Yeah, no, but the Apple TV, it's always on, doesn't draw very much power. It's on your network, can talk to everything else with the Bluetooth LE if that has to.
Well, it lends itself to some quite exciting possibilities if that whole ecosystem comes together. And potentially even with iBeacon and stuff like that, in having location awareness or I guess, sort of when you come home, different things happening.
Well, even you could in there, one of the examples they're giving, because Siri, you can just, they said in your car, you can just plug it in and go, "Hey Siri," and it'll start listening to you. So they haven't expanded on that, whether I can do that when I'm sitting at my desk, just go, "Hey Siri," and start talking to it. But one of the examples was, "Hey Siri, I'm going to bed," and it would be expected to make sure the garage door was down and locked, and the front door with your electric locks were locked, and the lights turn themselves off. Can be 5 minutes after you go to bed, and all those things just from Siri integration. So
yeah, and then that's really where we'd like it all to go.
Yeah, I can't wait. What a poser!
Absolutely. Okay, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back soon to wrap up WWDC. Okay, welcome back, and remember to like us on Facebook at Aussie Tech Heads, and also follow us on Twitter, also at Aussie Tech Heads. And remember, you can contact any of us if you've got a comment, query, question. We'll be back to normal format next week with Michael answering all your tough questions. So that'll be Jason, Michael, or even Glenn, who turns up from time to time. At aussiemaczone.com.au, you can get us at that email address. Okay, Michael, let's maybe wrap up from WWDC. So, what else was or caught your attention, or maybe was a little bit surprising from the announcements today?
Oh, one of them was the keyboards. You can now put any keyboard you like on your machine, on your iDevice. So people that like the swipe keyboard that Android's had for a few years now, which everyone raves about because it's sort of got very good predictive typing in it. You'll be able to have that without any problem and secure.
Yeah, I noticed that, and so I guess that they've sort of borrowed a little from there, haven't they? With be able to install third-party keyboards. And the other thing I thought around borrowing from the world of Android was with Siri activating purely by the voice command, "Hey Siri," to I guess wake it up, or bring it to attention you want to do something without physically having to touch the phone. So look, not exactly a groundbreaking innovation there, but maybe long awaited, shall we say.
Yeah. And the other one is the way they're permitting iOS apps to talk to each other. So you can say, I can open my Excel file in Numbers easily, for example, or I can take a photo and then one of the other photo apps can modify that photo and save it back to its original place, which you haven't been able to do previously. And it's doing it. They sort of emphasized that it's being done through Apple's security. So the app says to Apple, "Have I got permission to talk to this?" And then Apple says yes and lets it go in and out, but still going through the Apple part to keep it very secure and sandboxing.
Yeah, and to me, look, I think that's a good balance there. And before, I mean, we had the sandboxing, but nothing could talk to each other. And I guess what we'll see, like on the desktop computer and Android, is it can be just open slather access to the operating system. But I think this is a nice balance there, that you're using the Apple calls and, as you say, the Apple security to, I guess, provide that access to files and functionality that you need, but it's done in that balanced and secure manner. So that would be good. And I guess from that point of view, though, it will take a little bit of time for the developers to update the apps to take advantage of that, because it does need to have those calls put in place.
What caught your eye, do you think?
Well, an interesting one was around Swift programming language.
The new language,
Yeah, so replacing Objective-C as the native language for writing apps. And look, I think that's very interesting. Objective-C probably, as the name implies, from the C language, even though it being a sort of more advanced version, is still probably old school and probably pretty pretty steep learning curve to get up to speed on. Where Swift is, I guess, lighter weight, you can get to where you need to quicker, and maybe along the lines of things that are used now, like Ruby and that are quite quick to get something up and running into. Ruby a lot of times is used for prototyping, but to actually get production stuff up and running without having to, I guess, really get into the deep depths of Objective-C to get all the funky things happening. Apple are looking at making it easy for you, and I guess in turn providing a benefit for themselves in getting better apps to market quicker by a broader range of people. So building that ecosystem.
Yeah, and I think the ability. Firstly, that's one probably caught everyone by surprise, because there hasn't been any mention of a new developer language, or they haven't heard any leaks about that at all.
That's a big thing, really, and it's not trivial to say, "Oh, we've come up with a new programming language."
Yeah, you got to be pretty confident to say, like, here it is and it's ready. And they've put the manual up there in the iBook store for free. It's about 850 pages of how to do it. So,
yeah, I'm certainly going to have a look at it. It looks like a higher level language, but look, again, the iOS ecosystem being what it is, it probably lends itself to having this type of language, because it's not as though you're getting access to the bare metal to code on anyway. So yeah, sure, if you're on a Intel platform, be it Windows, Linux, or OS 10, you can sit and code in something like C, or even assembler if that really floats your boat, and do bare metal whatever you want to, right down to the process level stuff. That's not going to happen on an iOS device anyway. So it actually lends itself to having that higher level language that is in the Apple ecosystem to just get there in a more efficient, structured manner.
Yeah, it was good. It's good to see, and good demo too that they did.
Yeah, that was looked really good. And actually, one demo that did catch my eye was where the who was the guy that came on from what game company was it that was demonstrating?
Yeah, it wasn't Electronic Arts. It was another one.
Epic. Was
Epic.
it Epic?
Epic. Yeah.
And what they were showing there with the was a tool called Metal to reduce OpenGL overhead.
Yeah,
they were having individual petals and leaves, and it was amazing. And that was on an iPad. Just the level of complexity of graphics.
Yeah, and it was interesting. They did a lot of talking of like console quality graphics. They said it over and over: console quality graphics, console quality of rendering, console quality. So maybe that does lend itself to being the Apple TV gaming console.
While they still haven't done that, again, we had that conversation at work, and maybe this is a step now that that's certainly getting up there with a PlayStation and Xbox.
They've got to be worried. You think they'd have to be worried. Yeah.
It would be at a cheaper price, and everyone's already got the controllers. take your choice. iPad, iPod Touch, iPhone. You've already got the controller of choice. It's a very intelligent controller, in that it's got display on it and communication ability, so it becomes a very functional and very high powered game system. So, gee,
Yeah.
maybe that's coming. It's a home automation hub. It's it's a game console. Maybe
Well,
that's
that way they could,
going to all come together.
they could say it's an own home automation hub, and that's why we've got to double the price. Because then they can put an A8 processor in it and give you a bit more RAM.
Yeah.
And get it to be a game and an automation device, and still just the ordinary Apple TV.
But even at $150, $200, that's still pretty good value.
Yeah.
With that in there.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Well, anything else that we need to cover off, or that?
But the other one, I can talk all night. Like the other one was the predictive typing now, and the way it's contextually aware. So it just does
quick type, wasn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't just suggest words; it suggests sentences now. So that was interesting.
Yeah, that seems to be, I guess, just with processing power and storage now, isn't it? That you can adapt those types of things in.
Yeah, so good to see. It was a good day, and it kept the developers happy because, like you say, it was all developer
centric.
Really.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. And look, I guess the double positive is lots of exciting things announced today, but that must mean there's a hardware event coming up soon to announce all this hardware, including the 12-inch Air with Retina display that I'm waiting for,
and the 4K displays for you to go with your Mac Pro,
with a Mac Pro. Yeah, that's right. There was some big rumors about those, so they certainly can't be too far away.
So good day.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, we might wrap it up there. And look, thank you for joining us. And next week, Michael, show number 50.
Yes.
So we'll have to have a celebration for that one.
We might have some surprises for that. I might have some special gifts for that. Special prizes to win.
Sounds a good plan. So. Thank you, everyone, for joining us again for our WWC wrap-up, and we'll look forward to joining you next week, and we'll catch you then, Michael.
Yep, thank you. All the best, Jason.